There we go. Panthers finally get their second win on the season. This is the breakdown of Chris Tabor's press conference. Let's jump right into it, no delay.
Hey, I thought it was all over.
What is up? Again, my name is Nick. This is Roll Coverage. We're looking at Chris Tabor in the post-Falcons win. Second win on the season. Super happy about it. Happy for the team overall. It's going to be a quick one, only 8 minutes today, but let's go.
Mike, testing 1, 2, 3. Shotgun, test.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. Injury-wise, we came out pretty good, and so we'll assess guys tomorrow.
I love the choice of all black aesthetic. We did do the black helmets and everything. It was a good win. As good as it can be, of course, but I'm happy for the players on the team. They deserve this win. They worked really hard for it.
Tomorrow, really happy for the guys. Proud of them. You know, the defense getting 2 turnovers. I think we got 6 points off of that. Then the last drive, 17-play drive, with a will to win and saying that we are going to win the game and setting it up right there at the end. Really just proud of all parties. I couldn't be more proud of the kids, obviously, the coaching staff. It was fun. You know, those were tough conditions. I think that the area that I was really pleased with, obviously I talked about the defense and getting the 2 turnovers, is we didn't have any turnovers. And I thought, you know, just trying to play field position out there and then taking advantage of opportunities when you get them. So in a better mood than when we were last week. Enjoy it tonight and then get back to work tomorrow and go from there. So with that, I'll answer any questions.
First thing that tells us is there's no Monday off. So we're back to grinding. I do think that there's going to be a lot of praise heaped on 2 people, Chris Tabor and Bryce Young, for this game. I felt like having no touchdowns and like 150 passing yards is not valued enough. And I agree with that. I don't think that that's something we need to be praising the quarterback. Bryce Young does not need a game ball for this. Chris Tabor doesn't need a game ball for this. This was like a Chargers game where they lost 6-0 kind of thing. Like, this was so low scoring. Neither team could get anything going. So I don't think that there's really a shining moment to look at for either of them. Yes, the defense is showing up a little bit more often, which is great. But we also have a lot more people that are healthy at this point in the season than we did in the first 6 games of the season, or the first 8-10 games. So for that reason, I'm not going to put too much, stock into this opinion. One of the other things I'm also not going to put stock into, which is a thing that I called out and people will be roasted for it, is I think the Panthers have like the 3rd or 4th best overall defense according to the numbers, but it's because teams don't have to put up numbers to beat us. If they can put up 150 yards total, then who cares? You got out of there with a win. That's all that's going to matter. So I think that that's a very straw man argument right now. But again, I'm happy with the win. I just don't want to lose focus of the things that we still need to do. We still need to get Brian Burns paid. We still need to pay Luvu. We still need to get better wide receivers. We still need to fix the O-line. We still need all new staff. We need to fire Fitterer. There's a lot of things that are still there that are not going to be talked about now this week because of a win. Coming off this win is going to be, a lot of stuff put in a different direction. I think we just need to stay focused. I'm hoping that's what he kind of talks about, but we'll see.
Coach, obviously worked out, but the decision to take the knee and kick the field goal at the end as opposed to going for the touchdown, what was behind that?
Well, they elected. I think they still had 1 timeout left, but they kind of when they did not take the timeout, no reason to go down and try to score there. We got a lot of confidence in our kicker. What I can't even 2-yard line, 3-yard line, ball right in the middle. I like our chances, and that way you end the game.
Former guy with special team coaching experience there. I mean, this kind of a dream game for you for field goals and punts and strategy and all that kind of thing?
No.
That's the point where if that's the case, then we should have been so much better in all those things. I can't give him the credit because he did the same thing every other special teams coordinator do, which is just get the job done. That's it.
No, it was fun.
Sorry, something just fell behind in my kitchen, and I was like, "What the hell is that?" Thinking it's my cat. It's not. Random thing just fell off.
We talked about it all week. We talked about it right in here, starting on Wednesday, of what the day was going to look like. From everything. the weather, the wind, how we were going to have to play the game. And at the end, we just kept saying, we are going to win this game. And that's what they did. Anytime you have a 17-play drive at the end of the game to get a walk-off field goal, I think that says something about your kids and your guys. So I couldn't be more proud of them.
What does it say, you think?
It says we just keep going. And I know we're not where we want to be. I understand all that. But you can't,
But you're right.
based off that tape, you can't question who they are. And I was really happy for them that they were able.
I don't disagree with that. A lot of people are going to blow up about the whole Amir Smith Marsette's screen pass or bubble pass kind of thing where he got like 12, 15 yards or whatever. And I just don't think that that's something to place a whole lot of stock in. A lot of guys can get one play to work out for them, 2 plays maybe, but it's the consistency that makes the great players. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of stock in that. He's a great developing player, but he's not there yet.
Able to break through. Sometimes you knock at the door all the time and no one answers, then sooner or later you got to kick it down, and we did it tonight.
Coach, can you speak to the consistency of Derek Brown and Nick Thurman?
Things I also want to point out is the 2 games we won were the point where we held the other team to 6 points, and the other one I think was 15. So we literally need our defense to essentially shut down the other team for us to even have a chance. I don't think that that's something that is major praise to be pushed forth towards the defensive side. I understand that might be, counterproductive. But if they have to do that for us to even be in the game, I think that means that obviously the offense is not going, which we know. But that also means that there's a bunch of games where our defense couldn't keep us in the game. So a lot of people want to keep Evero long term. I think it's an option, but I think that any incoming GM and head coach, which is what I hope we get, a new GM and a new head coach, not just a new head coach, and they're going to want to bring in their people. So that's going to be kind of a hard bargain there, but again, Tepper's going to kind of do whatever he wants. That's why we have the worst owner in football. So.
In the second half?
Oh boy, those guys. We talked a lot about. We went with 6 defensive linemen up because it was going to be that type of day, and we talked a lot about our defensive line and what I'm going to call our running group, our offensive line, and our receivers getting in there blocking to say, hey guys, let's be real estate agents after we get done with this game, which really means we're acquiring land during the game and trying to change field position. So really proud of our defensive line, no question.
What did you see the wide out?
Now with that, we did know that it was going to be a very poor weather game, so that's going to lead itself into a much more focused run game. We saw a lot of deep shots just kind of fall out of people's hands or just get overthrown. The conditions were not supportive of a big throwing game, though. If I can find the guy that posted it, shout out to you. There was a guy that posted a parlay beforehand through Underdog. Shout out Underdog. And they put out this parlay where they had Desmond Ridder like under 141 passing yards. And the one critique I had is do the over, and it hit the over. So if you're that guy, hopefully you switched it. But if you didn't, check out right here at Roll Coverage or at Roll Coverage Pod on Twitter.
On that final drive, that's a group that's been kind of much maligned publicly, at least this year. Mingo had it looked like a pretty good route, and then Shark's catch.
Oh, the guys made plays, and guys, I'll be honest with you.
It seems like so many people are calling him Shark, not Shark, like I have always said. So if that's the case, I'm going to start using the Shark side. It was a great catch. That's actually going to be something that I'm going to do in a separate video where I break down the actual game itself. Video should be coming out soon after this one.
Yeah, those weren't easy catches out there. And I was really proud of our guys really concentrating and making those plays. The thing that I saw today that you can't argue with is that there were plays that needed to be made, and they made the plays. So you can say, hey, did they take a step? And based off of that game, I'm going to say they are. So now next week, that's the standard, and now can we move it forward and push it forward?
Speaking of making plays, Smith Marset was more involved in the passing game today. Can you just speak about that? Because I know you're familiar with him on special teams. But
Yep, that was the thing that I called out, that little screeny pass. Again, I'm going to have to rewatch it. Ended up watching a bunch of the games last night. Jordan Addison, the dude that I just fucking fell in love with out of college. had himself a game in the Vikings game. So there's a bunch of good ones. It was a great day for football. Hopefully you guys watched it, especially that Niners game. That was a great one. So
Yeah, his number got called today. He did a really nice job. They did, some of the jet sweep stuff and kind of some
that's the word I'm looking for, not screen, jet sweep.
of the inside handoff
Man, I'm going to get roasted online for that.
stuff. He just has a knack for kind of sliding through there, and then it gave us another little wrinkle in the run game, which he needed today.
On the radio pregame, you watched all the fumbles with the App State game yesterday. Leading up to the game, how much was ball control, and even during the game, a focus?
Oh, it was huge. When I watched that game yesterday, I was thinking the same thing. And, I thought going into the game, you obviously you preach 100% ball security, but if one popped out, for example, on Smith Marset on the punt, we had a muff there. Was I shocked by that? I wasn't. Because of the conditions, and I think mentally you already know that. But the kids did a good job of bouncing back, and we protected the ball, and that was big. And then even with regards to, I think early on, I think we popped the timeout right there at the end of the end of the first quarter. We had the wind at our back with an opportunity just to make sure that we had the win, so we could pin them down there and just try to maintain the field position game to make them go long drives.
Normally you come here because you want to talk about body language. You want to talk about the breakdowns of these press conferences. Just in case you guys don't follow me, over here at Roll Coverage on YouTube or at Roll Coverage Pod on Twitter/X. This is what I do. We sit there and look at it. One of the things that I'm going to say, Chris Tabor is very focused on the win. Obviously, this is post-win press conference. But he's really focused on the minutia of the win. He's really focused on how his special teams set up that win. He's really focused on everything, kind of pushing it that way, defense and special teams. He's not going to give any credit to the offense, it seems like, besides that last drive. He has been, again, very just kind of, all black, funeral vibes. But at the same time, he is, again, not cracking jokes. He's not being the same person that we're used to seeing. Normally he comes in there and he's answering the questions quickly, concisely, and what people are looking for the most part. But I think this lends credence to the previous Hunger Games article written by Diana Rossini and Joe Person, where they said so many people behind the scenes were kind of looking out for themselves. And if you listen to a lot of his answers so far, it's been, how has my special teams set up this win? How did I get us this win? I understand he's doing a lot of that, but then he's also going something that I haven't seen in any of the other press conferences. If you have seen them, feel free to drop it in the comments. He's referring to them as kids. Interesting. They're men. Some of them are, young adults, but they're still adults. They're men, and you need to call them that. I think that's an interesting choice because, again, I don't remember him ever saying kids. So this is something to kind of watch. I think this is him kind of stroking his own ego, trying to figure out what he's going to do next. And there's actually a decent chunk of the fan base that actually think that we should retain Evero and Chris Tabor long term. I am not one of those people. I think that he was probably one of the ones that helped set Frank Reich up. And if we have somebody that's trying to usurp the head coach, I don't think that that's somebody that needs to be in the organization. I had my whole video on him where I think that he is the mole, or was one of the moles. As Peter King actually said in one of his interviews, that there was multiple people that went behind Frank Reich's back. So I think it was a culture of, overthrow, coup, usurping, whatever you want to call it. But that's not the way big organizations win long term. So that's really what I'm seeing so far, at least what I'm taking out of this press conference so far. I understand why people are going to be happy about the win. Again, so my fan base needs wins to kind of rally behind, but just listen to what he's saying, how he's answering it, and how he's not the same person that we're used to seeing.
What's this, especially that last drive, say about Bryce, the way he's kind of hung in there this year after all he's been through?
Also, one of the things that I picked up in one of Frank Reich's, if not the last Frank Reich press conference, is it wasn't the last one. I think it was second to last or third to last. But he had an interview or a press conference like this where he had the same thing. Eyes were protected essentially from being like kind of looked at and stuff like that. So that kind of gives me a little bit of a, Senator Palpatine vibes. I know that that's a weird reference, but that's what it kind of gives me. Like why are you wearing a hat so low on a press conference? Unless the lights are just so bad. But if that's the case, you ask that to change. Come on.
He's a winner. I mean, guys, think about that drive he put together, that all those kids put together.
Yeah, kids. That's a weird. Am I the only one that's hearing that?
In those conditions, and people might say, hey, with nothing to play for, there's a lot to play for, because whatever is on tape, that is who you are. So I was really proud of him. I thought he took another great step. I thought that he threw the ball well for what the conditions were. You know what I mean?
Here, I'm going to be honest. I think that Bryce Young can develop long term. I don't think he's a bust or anything yet. It's way too early to tell that. But he has not had a truly good or great game yet. I can't think of one. The best Carolina Panthers win came with Andy Dalton. So
I was really proud.
I'm sorry. I don't think that was the win. That was the best game, because we didn't win that game that he played. We lost that game, but he still passed like 300 and change. We won the game, or he had the head-to-head win against CJ Stroud, who just was out, and then his team won. I don't think this team could have won that game without Bryce Young, don't get me wrong. Or we could have won by 30 if Andy Dalton was in there. So that's kind of the flip side. It's either going to go really well or it's going to go real bad.
The kid's a winner.
Chris, what went into the decision, I'm sorry if you addressed this, to have Camus take a couple kickoffs?
Well, we thought about that early in the week. That kind of goes a little bit about when you coach up north and then you're playing Cordell Patterson back there and you're talking about field position. Eddie obviously can kick off for us, but that wind out there, what we were trying to do is Camus, really teams don't account for the kicker in coverage. So now we're getting obviously a better tackler out there. So that's why we did that when we were going that way.
The point was those were going to be squibs. And
those were going to be squibs anyway. Because squibs, I mean, depending upon, I think what they get it to the 29 or 30. I mean, I'm okay with that on this type of day, and because it was about field position, the way our defense plays, I thought it was good.
And on the conditions,
interesting responses so far, and again, no jovialness, no cracking jokes, no happy guy, even after a win. So this is really.
Any interesting kind of behind the scenes anecdotes that just what y'all did to endure that, or anything you tweaked or changed?
Okay, so this is the journalist giving him a softball, being like, hey man, what's those little nuggets, those little things that somebody's going to laugh about, the Bell story previously and stuff like that. And he's not going to give anything up.
On Thursday, we just practiced with the wet ball all the way around. You know, it was a beautiful day here on Thursday. We'll all take that Thursday. But we, sprayed the football down all the time, and we played football with the wet football all day.
Interception by Xavier Woods that set up that game when you got
big time play. I mean, obviously crafty veteran.
And really weird AV club over at the Panthers. Audio kind of messes up on occasion. I apologize for that.
I'm really happy for him. Actually, a little under the weather, fought through it, and to be able to make that type of play right there, I mean, that's big time. And kudos to our defense and the defensive staff. Outstanding job.
Chris, Miles Sanders didn't really get a lot of reps at back this game. What would you attribute that to?
I just think it's kind of how the game flowed. I thought when he was in there, I thought he did fine, thought he played well. We're going to be a running back by committee ball squad, and that's what we are, and it's just kind of how it worked out today.
Anything else for Coach? Thank you.
Appreciate you, everybody.
Appreciate Carolina Panthers. I appreciate the YouTube and everybody that's involved with the social media. You guys get these out to us pretty quickly. Overall, this was a B press conference, B minus. We're gonna go B minus. It was good. He answered the questions, but he's obviously not himself right now. He's giving a little bit of the game plan up while also pushing a lot of that credit to his side of the table. So obviously we kind of see the writing on the wall with that. But regardless, if you guys want to see breakdowns on the regular, you guys want to see why I thought Chris Tabor was acting out of character, check out all of those breakdowns on our YouTube at Roll Coverage. Or if you want to interact with us online, it's at Roll Coverage Pod on Twitter/X. Other than that, hopefully everybody has a great day. Peace.